In this video, we're going to talk about preventing overwhelm. This should be one of your number one goals when you're going into any learning situation, especially when you're researching, especially when you're handling a lot of new information that you've never seen before. It's very easy to get overwhelmed. Another situation is when you're taking action or implementing something and you're trying to get something to work and a problem pops up that you weren't expecting and you're not sure how to deal with it. So part of the skill of taking action is being able to handle additional problems popping up that you couldn't have expected and you weren't expecting. So it's really about managing your working memory. When a new problem comes up, that's going to start to pull at your working memory. And what happens is if you have to keep active in working memory all the previous stuff you were working on, as well as go and handle that new problem, then you're going to have issues. So what you need to be able to do is basically take what you were working on and all that past information you were holding in working memory, you need to transfer that onto paper, or you need to type that out into some notes, and you need to get that out of working memory so that you have space to handle the new problem. And that requires that you take a break and you don't immediately dive into the next thing and dive into the next thing. It also requires that you have habits set up to deal with just the day-to-day life things that you have to get done, so that those aren't taxing your working memory as well. A lot of people that don't have habits, part of the problem is they're always in reactive mode. They're always reacting to problems, reacting to people calling them, texting them, emailing them, and it doesn't work because their working memory is constantly almost at the top, almost filled up just by reacting to other people's stuff. When you have a schedule, when you have habits, when you have a consistent routine for doing things, your working memory is no longer taxed at that level, and you control when your working memory is loaded and when it's unloaded. So when you decide to go in your email at 10 a.m. and maybe 5 p.m., then you're deciding, okay, for this half hour, this hour, I'm going to handle email, and that's all that I'm going to have in my working memory. I'm not going to have texts coming in bothering me. I'm not going to be checking YouTube or Facebook or anything else. I'm just going to be in email. I'm just going to be doing this one thing. Not going to my phone. I'm not going to have other people bothering me. So it's about setting that routine and then having just one thing in your working memory. And one of the important things to realize about working memory is it's not like a computer in the sense of, well, you can very quickly unload it and then you're back to normal. With stress hormones, they take time to subside. So that's anywhere from half an hour before you get back to an equilibrium. And it can even last to several hours or even several days in extreme situations when there's an extreme amount of stress. But for normal situations, you're talking about at least half an hour and potentially more than that, potentially an hour, 2 hours. So you take a huge hit when you're not managing your working memory effectively. So it's really important to focus on that and make sure you're doing it. You also want to avoid task switching as much as possible, because it takes time to unload everything out of your working memory and then load it back up with new stuff. So the less switching you do, the better off you're going to be. And in this slide right here, you can see the biochemistry aspect of it, the three main hormones that are regulating stress: adrenaline, norepinephrine, and cortisol. So adrenaline and norepinephrine are pretty similar. Adrenaline is the fight or flight response. Norepinephrine is kind of a backup system. It does basically the same thing, but that's what gets your heart rate up. You start breathing heavier. With cortisol, what you'll notice is your appetite decreases, and it kind of shuts down some of those less important functions. So your libido, your reproductive system, those things aren't essential. Digestion, those things aren't essential in a fight or flight stress situation. Your body is basically concentrating its forces, concentrating its resources to only focus on the things that are important in a fight or flight situation. The problem with running cortisol through your veins 24/7 is it wears down your system. It's like if your car in your car, you never change your oil. It just things develop in that oil, which is equivalent in your body to the blood. It start to build up and start to wear down on the internals of your car or your body. So it's important to keep your bloodstream in an optimal state, and you can't do that if you're constantly stressed out. So you need to be looking not at, well, how can I take drugs or how can I do stuff to solve these problems or solve these symptoms, what you should be doing is going to the source of, when do I generally get stressed out? Maybe you can keep a journal for a day or a few days or a week of every time you get stressed out, at the end of the day, you make a list and you just write it down. And all you need to do is do this for a few days or a week until you get to the point where you're seeing patterns. And the things that stress you out the most, those are the things that you should build systems for first. Those are the things that you should build routines and habits for first. Because once you knock those out, then you're going to have a lot more working memory freed up so that you can start taking action, and you're going to have more margin. You're going to have more of a buffer there that you can use when a side problem comes up. You're no longer going to be overwhelmed by dealing with that because you have enough room in your working memory to handle it. So it's about reducing your day to day, minute to minute, second to second. What is your level of stress just on a moment to moment basis? If it's at 50% or 60%, your goal should be, how do I get that down to 10% or 5% or maybe 15%, somewhere in that range where the majority of your working memory is open when you're not doing anything, and you can go attack a problem, take action on something. And even if a few things pop up that you weren't expecting, you can handle it. And when you start noticing it reaching that 70, 80% range, that's when you should start to think, okay, I need to stop now because I'm getting into the early stages of being overwhelmed. I need to make a list. I need to offload my working memory, make a list of what are all the things I'm trying to handle right now, prioritize that, and then just attack that first thing on the list. Because otherwise, you're going to continue to get more stressed out. Once you're at 70, 80%, it's like a runaway train. If you don't start handling that immediately, then you're going to run into problems. You're going to get stressed out, and then you're losing anywhere from half hour, 2 hours until your biochemistry just resets. And being stressed out is not a switch. It's not a binary thing. It's something that edges up over time. So once you're at 70, 80%, your biochemistry has already started to change. You're already starting to ramp up. And if you don't immediately solve that and get that fixed, then it's just going to keep on going up and up and up. And the farther it goes up, the more stressed out you get, the more time it's going to cost you to get out of that. So you're not just losing productivity as you're getting more stressed out from that 80 to 90 to 100% stressed out. You're also losing it on the way back down. So you need to get back down from 100% to 90 to 80 to 70 to 60 to 50 to 40 to 30 to 20 to 10. All that time, those minutes, those hours add up. So you need to be paying attention to your biochemistry, paying attention to the feeling in your body. You need to get aware of the early stages of when you're getting stressed out. Start to feel how your body kind of heats up, how you maybe start breathing a little bit more quickly, or you just can't focus as much as the temptation to switch to something else or to eat something or to just break your focus on that one thing. Once you start to notice those symptoms, immediately you should stop, make a list, prioritize, and then just focus on that one thing. And then also feel the change in your body. Just getting up and going for a walk or getting a drink of water, something like that, that can help. But if you want to consistently be performing at a high level, you need to offload your working memory. You need to put that down on paper, prioritize it, and then just focus on the most important thing and handle the rest later.